Podcast at kcaaradio.com.
KCAA.
Working in the margins. Dealing with our challenges, assessing needs, and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net. Are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, San Bernardino. This is Shazette. You're with Working in the Margins. This is the Family Assistance Program weekly podcast and radio show. We're on KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and we hail to you from the beautiful offices of Teamsters Local 1932 in downtown San Bernardino. So I missed a show last week for a very good reason. I think I had shared that before on the show previously, that my brother was awaiting a kidney. He needed a kidney. He's been on dialysis for about 10 years, and he's been on the list here at Loma Linda since last August. So some would say that this is kind of quick, but hey, it happened. So they called us last Thursday and they said, get here, and he got a new kidney, and he's home and he's healing, and everything is going great. And we are so grateful as a family that he gets this lease on life. And I want to thank, I don't think a thank you is enough. We can't thank as a family enough the young 40-year-old person that made this kidney possible. So prayers for that family, and thank you. We are so forever grateful that this opportunity happened. So that's where I've been, taking care of family, dealing with family stuff, and making sure everybody's cool and copacetic. It's been a busy week though, so I want to make sure, I want to check in and see how everybody is doing. It's been kind of whirlwind about news, crazy news coming out every other day, things happening, affecting people, jobs, morale, just craziness. Some people don't think it's crazy, some people just think it's Tuesday or, but it's kind of unstable. I have family and friends, they mess around with that stock market. They're better trained than I am with money. And that stock market going up and down like that would have me crazy. And not up and down like that, or down. So I think more people are being affected by some of these decisions that are being made. Eric, did you hear that this current president wants to run for a third term?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So that's never happened. But what I want to know is, okay, so there's still a couple of presidents still alive that had their 2 terms. So can they come back and run? You know who I'm talking about. Can you can he come back and run for a third term too?
I mean, if he's just all of a sudden running for a third term or requesting
I
for that, then
know.
why not?
I'm like, come on, fair is fair.
Yeah, I got hope for that.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, so I don't. It's crazy things like that. It's like what's old, is new again, and what's odd is no longer odd. I watched the news, a clip about the Black Lives Matter Plaza mural down over in Washington and how they painted over it. That was really sad because I watched when it got painted, when it was allowed to be painted there, and I thought, man, we're really doing something. We're really trying to, but no. And to watch them paint over it, I guess it was just kind of felt to me indicative of to a lot of the policies that are coming out of the White House right now. We got to stay vigilant, people. Know where your news is coming from. I think I say this every week. Find who you can trust, who you believe, who you can trust, for as much as you can trust and believe anybody. But find news, find information, do your own research. Follow the links all the way through. Just don't copy and paste. Just don't share, because you think, you think it's funny. I really try not to offend people when it comes to my posts and things like that, because offending it doesn't work. You're trying to be persuasive. You want to, that's what the goal is. You're trying to persuade people but that should be with facts. It shouldn't be just, sometimes these they get real mean, and they call a group of people a thing, and that's not, I don't think anybody realizes, that this name calling, that our kids are, it's okay now for our kids to call each other names because we have a administration that keeps, it's like junior high school. And it's immature, and I don't like that our kids see some of the stuff that's going on, from the government, from the administration, from the grown folks. It's disturbing. There was an incident, I wanted to make sure I talked about this. There was an incident at a Colton Junior High School. It was an assault. Two students were in a fight, and there's a lot of speculation and on both sides, but both of the children were charged. And it was vicious to watch online. And I called the school. I just wanted to know where was the teacher? How did this happen? And it was just terrible. And then there was like a lot of the folks, like in the NAACP around that, because it was an African American young girl involved. So folks came around, and it looked like she took the worst of the beating, but nobody was there, and we all saw the same thing. And I know if I saw what everybody else saw, I can't draw conclusions onto what happened before or what happened later. It's not up to us. But because of that, you call the school, you find out, hey, what happened? How did that happen? How did that happen? How was that allowed to happen? So I guess there's some information coming out about it. People are mobilizing and what have you, and that's fine. But the reason I think I want to make sure that I talk to the community about this, these are the things we need to look out for. These are the things. We don't have to look far. We don't have to look to the federal stage to find ways to advocate for our children right here in our schools, because there's more than enough need. there's more than enough need. That incident that happened was brutal, and it was between two humans. And I just kept thinking of all the education around that needed to happen so that could be prevented. We need to come together as a community and focus on some of the things, right here at our own doorstep. And that's going to be my lead in because, I like to have, I try to have themes, y'all. So this is my Super City Woman theme. My guest today is Miss Cassandra Searcy from the city of San Bernardino. I'm so honored that she is going to give us her time and share space and with me today. So after this break, I'm going to have you meet our Super City Woman. Be right back, San Bernardino.
KCAA.
This segment sponsored by our radio listening post in Yucaipa, Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, where you can get healthy in the heart of Yucaipa. You'll find locally sourced fresh fruit, vegetables, farm eggs, honey, fresh bread, nuts, and for your sweet tooth, delicious ice cream and locally produced candy from licorice to chocolates, all to your heart's content. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce, just down the street from Toscano's Pizza between 13th and 14th on Yucaipa Boulevard. Open every day, weekdays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on weekends to 5 p.m. For more info, you can call 909-790-6106. That's 909-790-6106. Shop local with Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce. Tell them you heard it on this radio station and saw it on the DNA advertising screen inside the store. It's Yucaipa Farm Fresh Produce.
KCAA,
where life's much better. So download the app in your smart device today. Listen everywhere and anywhere. Whether you're in Southern California, Texas, or sailing on the Gulf of Mexico, life's a breeze with KCAA. Download the app in your smart device today.
I'll be sailing out of yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette, working in the margins. This is the weekly Family Assistance Program podcast and radio show. We are on KCAA, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and we are so this generates like a little video podcast. It'll be on YouTube. It's on KCAA TV, and you'll be able to catch the video there. So I am so honored that I was able to score this amazing Wonder Woman, Miss Cassandra Searcy. So this is my Super City Woman. So Cassandra Searcy is the Director of Homeless Services for the city of San Bernardino. And I can only imagine how big of a job that is. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're able to come.
Let me make one correction.
Okay.
Although I do like accolades, I have to be correct. I'm actually the Deputy Director of Housing and Homelessness.
Okay, Deputy Director. So, man, I had all these questions and then a bunch of other questions came, but tell us, Cassandra, what you do. Just give us some bullet points about what you do. What's on your plate daily?
Okay, so let me kind of start a little bit from the beginning without boring the audience. I've been with the city for about 2.5 years, maybe a little over 2.5 years now. And so I was tasked with reigniting the city's housing division, which had gone defunct. And when I tell you defunct, I mean I came here and there was 0 staff.
Wow.
I'm like, what happened here? Just empty boxes.
Yeah.
So I had to reignite the city's housing team as well as create a homelessness division.
Okay.
And so over the past 2.5 years, I'm happy to say I have a team of 12. It's not where we need to be, but it's enough that we are able
Getting there.
to, push projects out. So on one arm, we're working with affordable housing developers. We have reestablished the city's affordable housing pipeline, moving projects forward, utilizing the city's funds because the city is an entitled city. And so thank
Right.
God, it makes it a little easier because we have access to home funds,
Right.
PLHA dollars, which is Planned Local Housing Allocation Funds. And believe it or not, we even have some old RDA dollars. So that tells you there was inactivity
Oh, okay.
that I'm still sitting on RDA
Okay.
money.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
one. Number
That's
two-
been gone for a minute.
Since disbanded in 2012.
Yes, yes.
So, and the other arm is homelessness. So we
Yeah.
actually had to create a team pushing out homeless initiatives. I will say previously, the city didn't do, actually what I want to say is the city maneuvered itself in a way that was really common where, you have entitlement funds and you give that funding to local agencies, CDBG, ESG, things of that nature.
Right.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, we're living in the day and age of accountability. And when I was going through the earlier stages, I realized that these organizations, they're not using funds to build capacity. There's no new creative programs or services to help the targeted population. Bulk of the money seems to be going more for overhead and administrative costs. So we revamped it now so the agencies that we do work with, they do understand at the end of the day, we are holding you accountable and we're looking for that increase in programs, in services,
Right.
increasing your units, shelter beds, what have you. And then the other thing is the city itself had to step up and say that it's not enough to just rely on our local nonprofits, although there are many that do a great job. The city is now engaged in 2 capital improvement projects underneath our division,
Right.
as well as creating new programs and initiatives to develop a more robust framework to
Right.
address homelessness.
Right.
So without going into too much detail, those 2 heavy arms fall under me, under
Wow.
my watch.
That's a lot because we know the statistics that San Bernardino has the largest homeless population.
Correct.
And that yes, we've had more difficulty trying to stabilize and house folks from the street because we don't have a housing mechanism. We don't have anywhere to put them. So yes, they're out longer. Their experience through homelessness is longer. And when you have more people than your average, City, it looks like you have a lot of homeless on the streets. That's what it looks like. I know I've always been, I watch trends. And I think that the trends come and go. There's a different type of homeless person on the streets right now. I think that there's been significant progress in moving reunifications and treatment, and I think the folks that are kind of like stuck, we are now getting to where we can treat them on the street. Community health work, trying to get them, stabilized, street medicine, so that they can get, sometimes a moment of clarity to prioritize their, how many folks do you have? You said you had 12 folks on your team. How do you do outreach?
So that doesn't include our outreach team.
Okay, tell me about your outreach.
So we actually have contracted vendor. Right now it's the Salvation Army.
Salvation Army.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they provide our street outreach. They also help to oversee and provide case management for the city's motel voucher program.
Okay.
And just yesterday, if you were watching the city council meeting, we got approved funding to establish a rapid rehousing
Yes.
program under them. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. I think that's it's very vital that we also use folks that are already familiar with the area.
Correct.
And
Correct. Whenever possible.
Whenever possible. Yes, because Salvation Army been around right here,
Since don't get me get it wrong, 1887, I believe, in San Bernardino.
in San Bernardino.
Yes.
Yeah. We would bring folks, I know when I was doing homeless and it wasn't just us. It was a lot of folks from Montclair, from Upland, out here to Salvation Army, because it was the only place that they would allow, walk-ins and people to line up. You came from Victorville,
Yes.
and I know, because word on the street travels, good word on the street travels, that you were vitally important to the Victorville Wellness Center.
Yes.
You tell me a little bit about how was that baby born in your brain?
Okay, I'm gonna be completely transparent with you. So I actually had worked for the county almost 20 years,
Okay.
master level social work, and what ended up happening for me is probably the last 7 to 10 years of working with the county, my colleagues and I noticed a trend where we were like, hey, what's happening here? Why are so many of our specifically transition from child protective services to adult protective services? So we were noticing that there were a lot of seniors who at the time of retirement, maybe $3,000 a month, that was good money.
Yeah.
But we were finding more and more of them were living in their cars, living on the street, displaced, staying with children. And we were like, what's going on? And then that's when we realized that a lot of corporations were coming in. They were purchasing up these properties where everybody was either disabled or elderly on a fixed income. Oh, they do a few little nice things, and then they went up on that rent, and they would go up on the days were gone where, hey, I pay my rent on time, I'm a good tenant, you want to hold on to me? That meant nothing.
Nothing.
And so if you were staying at a place that may have been affordable, within 5 years, going up minimum $100 each year, now you're priced out, because I'm on SSI. Now I came in for.
Right.
So it was just like, that just sparked my interest to say, oh my God, something has to be done. And so with that, with the county, I was working with them on a grant. It was a program that they had called At Home. And I want to say that project received like 20-something million dollars. We were able to create an At Home program to assist our seniors. And someone tapped me on my shoulder and said, hey, you're really working a lot with the homeless population. You have this social work background. Why don't you try working for a city? I'm like, I don't know about that. And I applied. I'll be honest with you, I really had no interest. I just was like, three people came to me. I turned it in. That was the fastest process. They yanked me up so fast.
Wow.
So
of course.
I had a social work background. So I'm trying to examine this thing holistically on how can we address homelessness in the city of Victorville. All right, Victorville, if you're listening to me, please forgive me, but it's true. Victorville was not willing, or at that time, ready to take a stance, to take the lead.
Right.
Again, it was that
They
mentality.
were the only one.
It was
They
that mentality. Let me just give money to the nonprofits. Let them fix the problem.
Yes.
But the nonprofits, unfortunately, they just lacked some it was coordination, some it was sophistication, some it was funding. And it was like, no, city, we are going to have to step up and take the lead. So that first year, my support came from the community. I literally was told, you go out there and pitch this, because you want to build what? You want us to build a campus that has on-site supportive services, low barrier. Where are we going to get the money to build it? How are we going to sustain it? I don't know. I'm trusting God.
Yes.
Now people looking at me sideways. What did you say? I don't know where the money coming from, but let's just move forward. So I go out there and I'm like, listen, I'm willing to hustle and apply for every dime. At that particular time, the state had given, our county had allocated money for the high desert region, the entire high desert region, which included cities and local nonprofits. It was something like $465,000. What were we supposed to do with that? So I was really big on advocacy. Well, during that time, lo and behold, this home key funding came on the scene.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is our opportunity. We go, we apply for it. We get a conditional award letter for $17 million.
Yes.
We hit the lottery. We're all excited. But in truth, that home key, that first application, it was very new. People were hesitant. I know the city manager at the time was like, we only got 12 months to build this thing. Cassandra, I know you're looking at modular construction, but what happens as the state going to hold us accountable? We're going to have to pay this money back. And so we had meetings with the state, and the state was like, look, that would be a bad look on us. We give you this money and take it back. We like your project, move forward. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not at the top seat. So it was decided, we're going to rescind this offer. And I have to tell you, myself and at the time the city planner, we were heartbroken. We were like, I don't know where else we're going to get this kind of money.
Right.
But lo and behold, we kept moving forward. We had a homelessness solution task force. We knew what we needed. We had identified the land, so it was great. Victorville had already outlined 4.5 acres, plus there's additional acreage for them to expand.
To develop.
And, a year went by fast. Home Key comes around again. We apply for the second time. We get $28 million. Ding, ding, ding. We taking this money. So they took the money.
Yes.
And that really opened the door where I tell you, in the beginning, like I said, I had to really, I'm going to say, get that buy-in from the community.
Right.
And it just really transitioned where now the city was like, oh, this really can happen. So much support, it was unbelievable.
Right.
Political will, everything. Things just fell into place. It's so nice when you have city management that really is aligned with the vision. And was backing it. What do you need me to do? Because now people were believing this really can happen.
Right. And you're working with nonprofits at the same time.
Yes.
Simba Center, you are working with folks.
Simba Center was a baby at the time, but Simba Center was so instrumental because during COVID, they really helped the city pull together its COVID protocol. They were working at the interim shelter at the time. It was High Desert Homeless Service. Yes, with Mr. Jimmy Waldron and his team. They were fabulous. And they were there from the beginning, and without them, I don't even believe that Victorville would have the Recuperative Care Center. But nonetheless, I wasn't there to see the project completed. I got invited to the grand opening, but I did go up there recently, and it's just so heartwarming to see a vision come to fruition, see the people that are being helped and assisted. Victorville is doing
many people
a fantastic job working with the nonprofits. There's the cohesion.
Yes.
There's that cohesiveness now. Where in the beginning, I think it was more siloed.
Oh yes, most definitely.
So the end part, I wasn't there for it, but it's come together. It's working wonderfully.
Well, you have
now,
everything to be proud of. And also why it's really important is because Victorville has the second highest amount of homelessness in this region. So I know we got to work with we still work with the Wellness Center. We refer people there through Coordinated Entry System and 211 in the High Desert, and we were able to exceed expectations because of our partnership with the Simba and the Wellness Center to move people off of the streets into transition. That is a relationship that we are very proud of. And to know, I remember when it was kind of done, everybody talks, nonprofit world small. Everybody talks. And they're like, Cassandra's coming down San Bernardino. What? You set off that baby, and I was like, because she's going to do the same thing down here, watch. And then it was like, oh, okay, fast forward. We're talking about a wellness center down here. I was like, yes, finally. We need that. We need that. It was when the Wellness Center in Victorville opened up their family beds, it was everything, because we were just watching the number of families on the street grow because they didn't have a place for them. They were able to really stabilize a lot of individuals, but we had families. We at one point we had 68 known families on the street in the High Desert, and it was just because it's so sparse, so everybody was spread out. It's hard to navigate.
And it's sad to say, I know it's really impacted now because we lost the family shelter with High Desert, and so I just...
So I know it's coming back in some type of other iteration. I believe it's going to be a Tay focus, 18 to 24, which is great because that's those are the ones that are out there, trying to figure out how to grow up and, and survive. So, but we don't have enough housing. We don't. We need as much as we can get because we can grab everybody off the street, but where are you going to put them?
Right.
And folks, we need a little time to stabilize folks. Unless there's an automatic, immediate reunification, which is rare. 40, 30%, maybe. That's a stretch. Reunification with family, that's a stretch, but it's not common. And trying to get folks, stabilized on their own in a treatment program or a shared room, that takes more than 30 days. So we're looking at our partners, but you San Bernardino, I'm watching, and I'm watching the other partners in the city come together, like St. John's, and and everybody wants to try to help to move the numbers off, and that's what I love about San Bernardino, and I love that the city is coming right along. That's important. What do you want the community to do to help you? To help, what can we do out here? What can our neighbors who, they come to city council and they say, do something. What do you not, do something? You're not doing anything. What do you want them to do? This is your opportunity to talk back.
I think one, it's important to the best of your ability, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way, but educate yourself on the different components, the challenges involved in trying to create affordable housing. I know before I crossed over to affordable housing, I was on that same bandwagon of, what's taking you so long? How come you haven't built this thing yet? My God, it's all this money. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. But that affordable housing is a different beast than market rate housing. And unfortunately, once the redevelopment agency dissolved, it was not replaced with another mechanism to provide that level of funding. We were getting billions a year. And now, the state and the federal, they do give chunks of money, but nothing to the point that, you can really create something that actually has an impact. So, for example, with San Bernardino, a lot of times what people don't realize, this affordable housing pipeline that I've reestablished, it is because there was very little to no activity in the city for years. So now I'm sitting on a surplus of funds that will allow me to move forward and have something that really can help house a significant number of people.
Does it allow you to be kind of out the box, creative about the housing that is created, as far as like tiny homes or shared living or transitional, motel rooms or things like that?
So fortunately, with a lot of the funding streams, there is that greater flexibility. I know the state is really doing a good job of trying to help cities and municipalities streamline zoning requirements, permitting, things of that nature. For the city of San Bernardino, we are definitely open to innovative housing options, be it modular, be it tiny homes. And once the general element, the general element is updated, we're trying to see if there's a way we can maybe look at inclusionary zoning, maybe look at the elevations, because right now, if you go to downtown San Bernardino or just San Bernardino period, you're not going to really see anything past 3 stories. And so we need to have an increase in our density, start moving up. Yeah, exactly. But like right now, I am happy to say, council meeting maybe a couple months ago now, there is approximately 13 acres that's adjacent to where the city's going to build its Hope campus, and that has been identified for permanent housing, transitional permanent housing. And so what we're doing right now is, although we're in talks with the county, we will at some point open this up to see if an affordable housing developer is willing to come in. And we've seen some great micro community units. The issue, which I didn't elaborate on, is that with affordable housing developers, a lot of times these projects don't mark it out, they don't pencil out. So just the funding alone, it could easily take them a couple years just to layer the funding to move the project forward. And by the time the project is complete, from start to finish, you might be looking at 4 or 5 years. So it's not an overnight fix, but nonetheless, we still have to keep moving that needle forward, because this is the parameters we've been given.
I just feel it's just worth trying to find ways for the developers to be able to do it without going through all the red tape, if it's for affordable housing. I know there's a couple of agencies that they come to our homeless meetings, and they want to provide affordable housing, but they have to come up with, like you said, I think like $5 million just to be able to, for folks to be able to take them seriously, basically, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, they're doing their due diligence. That they're also real estate folks, so they're like selling one house at a time to try to but they want to do affordable corporate transitional housing projects, you know. So you're right. I keep hoping that it's, you know, I was very inspired a few years back when they changed the ADU requirements, and they kind of loosened that up so people were able to build ADUs on their properties, and that was, I had shared living at that time, and it was a boom. It was, folks were over in Fontana, they were adding ADUs and they needed people to rent them, you know, and we were able to utilize that. I would really like to see, you know, just the red tape, you know, kind of maybe incentivize them, like, you know, more in order to do affordable housing. We need it. I don't think we're going to get away. I don't know. We're not going to make a dent if we can't find folks a place to, you know. Transitional, we could do transitional all day. You can put somebody someplace for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but after that, the real test is how long can you keep them under a roof for over a year.
Correct.
So we need to move toward more permanent. We're going to take a break. This has been I feel like when I'm talking housing, I feel like I'm talking to somebody that, you know, knows better than me. So we'll be right back, San Bernardino.
KCAA.
Motorists, this spring, be safe, don't text and drive. Our sponsor, Temecula Accurate Auto Care, is family-owned, serving the area for over a decade with quality and pride. Your full-service auto repair shop. Whether it's brake jobs, tune-ups, engine work, and more, stop by 28127 Jefferson Avenue or call 951-506-AUTO. That's 951-506-2886. Mention this ad and receive 50% off your next oil change. Temecula Accurate Auto Care, reminding us to never text and drive.
Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents? All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers, in business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family owned and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and in Fontana. Call them at 1-800-61-MAGIC. That's 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Auto Body says, drive carefully.
KCAA Loma Linda.
Welcome back, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazab with Working in the Margins. And I'm here with Miss Cassandra Searcy. She is the Deputy Director of Homeless Services for the City of San Bernardino. And we've been chopping it up about what's going on in the City of San Bernardino, about housing, the needs, and homelessness. So this is my super city woman. So I want to ask you, Cassandra, how do you feel, how do you function as a woman in predominantly male environment, like city work, city management? How do you manage all that? You got a family, these days, what are you doing for yourself to take care of yourself?
Okay, so one, I multitask. That's number one. Number two, I think because I had a background in social services, where you're dealing with crisis, where you're dealing with emergency situations, where sometimes I would call my team MacGyver, because They would come and hand you a problem, and it's like, okay, well, where's the funding? You don't have no money. Oh, okay. I got to get on the phone and start making contacts with my connections, trying to find a solution before the end of the day for this individual. So that required you to think fast on your feet, but it also required you to be able to speak with a level of assertiveness and to some extent bluntness. And for me, I'm all about transparency. I don't want to. I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth. I shoot straight from the hip, because if it were me, I would want you to tell me the truth.
Yes.
Where do I stand? What do I need to do?
Yes.
What are my shortcomings? What do you have for me? And I think that mindset has transitioned, helped me transition into working with municipalities. Because I tell you, when I first came in to cities in general, I was a little rough around the edges, because they would say, Cassandra, you know, you're so straightforward. I don't know how else to be. This is just me.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So I will say, you know, you learn to kind of pull back, try to read, engage people. But at the end of the day, I think what works for me is just being truthful and honest. If we're falling short, we falling short. And this is what we need to do, or come give me some ideas or solutions, team. Okay, let's work with it and move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not for the sugar coating and. No.
Yeah. I function better, I think, with all the information. I always tell folks I need to know everything about it, so I can make the decisions. So if I ask a lot of questions, or if I dial down or drill a little bit down into it, it's because I need to have that information.
Right.
What do you do to relax?
So actually, I'm a girly girl.
Okay.
So on my days off, you're gonna see me at somebody's spa.
Okay. I see your nails.
You know what? I'm always have these nails till I can't afford them no more.
Okay.
And then I like traveling, going on vacations. I like exploring.
Okay.
And so I don't want to just get away out the neighborhood. I really want to get away. Let's go out the country if we can. So for me, that's pretty much it. I'm very family oriented.
Good.
I stay grounded, because I am a Christian, and then just taking time to self-reflect. I am great in groups, but I also like spending time by myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not a tourist, are you?
No, I'm not really a groupie tourist.
Oh.
I do like traveling and exploring.
Okay.
But in terms of large crowds and doing the touristy stuff,
you go off grid.
Yeah, I go off grid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I am so I'm proud of a lot of women. So many women, and you've always been among that group. I have a list that I watch in the community, that work in the community, and I only hear good things. And you always, so this is not, so when you see something bad happen, and you're like, oh, I hope it wasn't a black person. But when I hear good things and wonderful things, and I'm like, it's Cassandra, and I feel proud. It's a lot of other women, Kim Calvin, and a lot of other women in my life, in my business, professional life. You are doing something very difficult right now, because the city is growing, trying to grow, experiencing some growing pains, trying to stabilize, lots of demands on it. I want to make sure that you are okay. I want you to check in with your community and let us know what you need to support, because that's the only way we're going to survive. No more siloing in San Bernardino, this whole, that's county work and that's city work, and that's our work. And that's where we all should be focused right now. We need to be, I wish they could just drop that invisible dome over California right now, so we could just protect, keep what we have. What we have works. We're not perfect by any means, but I feel there's been a lot more effort toward resolving the homeless experience for people. They've been throwing money at us for since the pandemic to try to, alleviate homelessness for people. But you are doing something big and grand on a large scale. This is, the largest county in the country. So I want to make sure, thank you for coming and talking sharing your truth with us. And you're welcome back anytime to update us about any of your projects. But San Bernardino, Inland Empire, it's not always, because I watch all the city council meetings and people come, and you all know it because you go. People who watch this podcast and show and would know me, you go to your city council meetings, and you tell folks how you feel, and you say what's wrong and why they need to be. You're working for me, and I just want us to be remember that those are human beings. Sometimes we call them the red tape, the politicians, the ones that keep us from getting that building permit. These are human beings. They are running cities. They're managing budgets. It's not always easy. I know that I've worked with municipalities all through San Bernardino, and I've rarely met a person who didn't have the best interests of the city that they serve in their heart. It's rare. Most of the folks I know are servants like I feel that I am, and they take up this work to do service in their cities. And I feel like that's what Cassandra has done, and the people like her in the cities, municipalities that are trying to, to bring stability to their cities. And it's not always easy, folks. It's not easy. We are working with shoestring budgets sometimes. We are working with folks that don't understand what it means to stabilize people, or the difficulty in. People take for granted how difficult it is to help somebody change from what they've been doing that has led them to being on the margins, in the margins, homeless. It takes more. Sometimes it could take years.
Suzette, can I piggyback on something real quick?
Absolutely.
One of the things you had asked a question on what people can do to help. I wanted to elaborate on that. I want to explain that, like I said, once the funding is gone, my surplus, the city only right now this year, 2024, we got $1.1 million in home funds. Prior year to that was 1.4. I don't know what we're going to get with these cuts to HUD.
I know.
So I'm just saying that to say now you in the west side of San Bernardino, you can go and pay $450,000, $500,000 for a 1,200, 1,300 square foot home. What is $1.1 million going to do for me?
Right.
So I just want people to understand that when you say city as large as we are, we're getting peanuts. It's hard to make a dent in the affordable housing field. So if you can advocate, when you get a chance, vote for policies that bring more money.
That bring more money
to the city so that we can build and we can expand, because that is a huge correction. A lot of times people just don't realize how small amount of money we get.
Right,
Yeah.
right. To serve the population, the numbers that we have to serve. Any nonprofit person, anybody that's having to work with grant money or funds that are given to you by the government, anybody's going to tell you it's not enough. It's just, and it's not, like right now, it's not stable. We have folks that have already been affected with the HUD restrictions and that's housing and urban development. Housing and urban development. And that's what we need. We need housing. We need development. We need to be able to incentivize people to create beds and rooms, and we need that. Everybody understands nobody can do it for free, but people don't understand, and they want to go to city council or they want to go to supervisors and say, what about this problem? Well, what about this problem? Yeah, we we know there's a problem. Everybody knows there's a problem. What's the answer? It's housing. It's kind of like, you know, in the title, unhoused. If we house them, then, so I think we need to be, I think mainly I want folks to start just having conversations, realistic conversations, coming to, you know, it's not funny or cuter anymore just to go to city council and to spout off about, you know, nonsense. Sometimes it's just nonsense. That's your opportunity to communicate with your needs from your community, and everybody should be talking about housing. Some folks are, but everybody should, because the problems that you're talking about as far as homelessness and what you're seeing on the streets, and, you know, what you don't want next to your house and or you're in your parks, you know, it's going to require a housing component. We don't have shelters. We don't have institutions like, you know, back from the Reagan days.
Right, and those are federal dollars. We need, the state is doing a good job in putting the money, providing some funds, but the state can't even do it on its own. We really need federal dollars.
We need federal dollars. Yeah. Well, I got 3 minutes left, and I want to share a couple of resources with you all, community. Cassandra, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. I feel that this month I was like, I'm going to talk to all my strong, you know, women and folks that are running stuff, because we need that right now. You know, I wore my shirt. I made a shirt that says "Trust Women."
Very cute.
Thank you. Everybody know I got a cricket for Christmas, but I wrote, you know, "Trust Women," because we are great at what we do. You know, we sometimes we are the most educated population, because we have to be. And we're doing good work out here. We have good missions, you know. So just a few. So there's a community health work festival. And again, I'm going to tag all of these to my hashtag working in the margins with Z. And so you can find me on all my socials. It's a community health work festival. It's April 26th from 2 to 6:30. It's on 650 North Del Rosa. And it's sponsored by a bunch of people. IEHP, First Five. So look for that. There's going to be the third annual Ability Walk. And I'm going to give you the phone number, but it's on March 29th at 10 o'clock. I believe it's in Riverside. It's through Our Paths Foundation. Our Paths Foundation. There's a citywide prayer event for San Bernardino County government at the San Bernardino County Government Center, Saturday, April 5th at 10 o'clock. It's Pastors United. Everybody knows Pastors United, SB Pastors United. Saturday, April 5th, that's a citywide prayer event. There's a hiring event for San Bernardino County. They're hiring, it's the preschool services. It's teacher 2, teacher 3, and teacher aide. And it's Thursday, April 17th. And apply by April 4th. And you have to register. So that's a hiring event. Let's see what else. I think that's what we got right now. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, follow the hashtag Working in the Margins with Z, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
NBC News on KC.